Hello, my name is Alexander Pierce, and this is the story of how losing everything revealed the truth about my family, and how a single letter turned everything on its head. They say you don't truly know your family until money gets involved. I found that out the hard way during one unforgettable Christmas dinner, but I also learned something else. Sometimes life's most crushing defeats come just before its most unexpected victories. For 15 years, I was the golden child of the family, the one everyone pretended to admire but secretly envied. As CEO of Pierce Technologies, the company my grandfather had built from scratch in his garage, I transformed it into a $200 million empire. Every Christmas, I endured the forced smiles and insincere congratulations from my relatives as they angled for jobs, loans, or investments. My cousin Rachel, who'd failed at launching 3 tech startups, would always corner me with her latest idea. James, the family's struggling lawyer, would drop hints about becoming the company's legal counsel. And Sarah, the youngest, never missed a chance to remind everyone that she deserved a management role, despite having 0 qualifications. But Grandpa Jack was different. He didn't see me as a walking dollar sign. To him, I was still the kid who helped him tinker with computers in his garage. During our Sunday lunches, he'd often say, "Alex, in business and family, always keep an eye on the quiet ones. They're either guarding your back or waiting to stab it." I didn't fully grasp his meaning until it was too late. Everything began to unravel 3 months ago. The company's board of directors convened an emergency meeting after evidence surfaced of someone selling trade secrets to a competitor. The signs pointed to internal sabotage at the highest level. As CEO, the responsibility landed squarely on me. The board's decision was swift and unanimous. I was to step down while an investigation took place. By the next day, the headlines read, "Pierce Technologies CEO resigns amid espionage scandal." My phone blew up, not with support, but with thinly veiled taunts from my family. "Guess you're not so untouchable after all." Rachel texted, "Need a lawyer? I offer competitive rates." James wrote, complete with a smirking emoji. Then, Grandpa Jack passed away unexpectedly. At his funeral, I felt the weight of the family's scrutiny as they reveled in my downfall. The whispers were relentless, "Bet he's not even in the will anymore," and "Think he'll dare to speak after what happened?" But Grandpa's parting words stuck with me. "Sometimes, Alex, losing everything is the only way to see who's truly on your side. Pay close attention to who's smiling at your misfortune. They're showing their true colors." Which brings us to tonight, Christmas dinner at the family mansion. Grandpa's will was set to be read tomorrow, but his lawyer, Mr. Harrison, had called me earlier in the day. "Your grandfather had specific instructions. He told me, be at dinner tonight, don't say a word, wait for me at 8 p.m. sharp." And so, here I was, seated at the far end of the table instead of my usual place at the head. The mansion sparkled with festive decorations, crystal snowflakes hung from the chandelier, the enormous Christmas tree glittered with ornaments, and Grandpa's chair, now empty, had been taken over by Rachel. This dinner, more than any other, was set to change everything. "So, Alex," Rachel called out, swirling her wine glass, "how's the job search going? I hear McDonald's is hiring managers." The table erupted in poorly concealed laughter. I stabbed at my turkey, saying nothing. "Oh, come on," James chimed in, "surely someone wants to hire the famous Alex Pierce? Though I guess that corporate espionage scandal might look bad on the resume." More laughter. Even Mom, who'd always been my biggest supporter, joined in with a sharp comment, "Well, I guess this proves no one's perfect after all. Even my golden boy can fall." Sarah, ever the opportunist, seized her moment. "You know, the board might be interested in some fresh blood, someone younger, with new ideas." She let the implication hang in the air. I checked my watch, 7:55 p.m., 5 more minutes. "What's wrong, Alex?" Rachel taunted. "Cat got your tongue? Usually, you love telling us all about your brilliant business decisions." "Maybe he's finally learned some humility," Mom added, "and that hurt the most. It's about time, if you ask me." I looked around the table, taking in every smirking face, every gleaming eye enjoying my downfall. Grandpa's words echoed in my mind, "Watch carefully who celebrates your downfall." "Actually," I said, speaking for the first time that evening, "I'm just waiting." "Waiting for what?" James snorted. "Your career to magically resurrect itself?" The doorbell rang. 8 p.m. exactly. I allowed myself a small smile. "No, waiting for that." The butler appeared in the dining room doorway. "Mr. Harrison, the family lawyer, has arrived. He says he has urgent business that cannot wait until tomorrow." Rachel frowned. "The will reading isn't until tomorrow. Tell him to come back." "Actually, I interrupted. Grandpa left specific instructions for this exact moment. Mr. Harrison entered the room, carrying a leather briefcase that I knew contained a letter that would change everything. Because what my family didn't know, what none of them had bothered to discover while they were busy celebrating my downfall, was that I had never really been fired at all. The corporate espionage, my public disgrace, even my silence these past 3 months, it had all been part of Grandpa's final master plan, and in about 2 minutes, they were about to learn exactly why he'd always told me to watch the quiet ones. Mr. Harrison cleared his throat, commanding the room's attention. The butler quietly closed the dining room doors, following the instructions I'd given him earlier. No one was leaving until they heard everything. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Harrison began, I apologize for interrupting your Christmas dinner, but I have here an addendum to Jackson Pierce's will that was to be read specifically tonight, at exactly 8 p.m., 3 months after his passing. This is irregular, James protested, his lawyer instincts kicking in. As former family counsel, Mr. Harrison corrected, you should know that Mr. Pierce's instructions were quite clear and legally binding. He opened his briefcase and pulled out a sealed envelope. The room fell silent as he broke the seal. Before I begin, Mr. Harrison said, Mr. Pierce recorded a video message to accompany this letter. Shall we? He placed a tablet on the table, and suddenly Grandpa's face filled the screen. He looked tired but had that familiar mischievous glint in his eyes. If you're watching this, Grandpa began, then it's Christmas dinner, 3 months after my death, and my family is probably celebrating Alex's downfall. I know my family well. You see, I know exactly how you all think. The smirks around the table began to fade. For years, I've watched you circle Alex like vultures, envious of his success, waiting for him to fail. But what none of you bothered to notice was that while you were plotting against him, I was conducting an experiment, my final test to see who deserved to lead our family's legacy. Rachel's wine glass froze halfway to her lips. The corporate espionage scandal at Pierce Technologies? I orchestrated it. Every leaked document, every whispered rumor, every board meeting, it was all carefully planned, with Alex's full cooperation. Of course, the room erupted in gasps. All eyes turned to me. You see, Grandpa continued, Alex and I spent the last year feeding fake information to someone we knew was selling company secrets. Can you guess who that was? Rachel? My cousin's face turned white. Her wine glass slipped from her fingers, staining the pristine tablecloth red. Those confidential documents you found so easily in Alex's office during your weekly family visits? The ones you sold to our competitors for millions? They were all fake. Every single one. The real company plans were safe all along. That's not true, Rachel stammered. Mr. Harrison, I spoke up for the first time. Please play the surveillance footage. The tablet screen split to show security camera footage of Rachel sneaking into my office late at night, photographing documents with her phone. Dates stamped in the corner showed this happening over dozens of nights. The FBI has already been notified, I added quietly. They're probably at your house right now. Rachel, those offshore accounts where you hid the money? Not as offshore as you thought. James jumped to his feet. This is entrapment. As Rachel's lawyer, sit down, James, Grandpa's voice commanded from the video. You're next. Those client funds you've been embezzling? We know about those too. Amazing what a proper audit can reveal. James collapsed back into his chair, his face ashen. And Sarah, Grandpa continued, those fake resumes you've been sending to our board members, claiming executive experience you never had, those references who were actually paid actors. Did you really think we wouldn't check? Sarah burst into tears, mascara running down her cheeks. Mom, I said softly, looking at her shocked face, this is why I couldn't tell you. We needed everyone's reactions to be genuine. I'm sorry. Mr. Harrison cleared his throat again. Shall I read the actual will addendum now? The room sat in stunned silence as he began to read. To my family, your true characters have been revealed. Rachel, James, and Sarah, you are hereby disinherited. Your shares in Pierce Technologies are forfeit. The evidence of your crimes has been forwarded to the relevant authorities. As for the company leadership, Alexander Pierce never stopped being CEO. The board announcement was part of our plan. He has proven himself not just a capable leader, but a man of integrity willing to sacrifice his reputation temporarily to protect the company from those who would destroy it from within. Therefore, I hereby leave controlling interest in Pierce Technologies to Alexander, along with my entire personal estate, valued at approximately $1.2 billion. The silence that followed was deafening. There's more, Mr. Harrison added. Mr. Pierce left specific instructions about tonight, Ms. Rachel Pierce, Mr. James Pierce, and Ms. Sarah Pierce are to be escorted from the premises immediately by the security team waiting outside. They are never to set foot on any Pierce property again. Right on cue, 3 security guards entered the dining room. "This is ridiculous," Rachel screamed as they approached. "You can't do this to us. We're family." I stood up slowly. Family? Family doesn't try to destroy each other. Family doesn't celebrate when one of their own falls. Grandpa taught me that, his final lesson. As they were led out, Mom reached for my hand. "Alex, I'm so sorry. I should have." I gently pulled away. "Yes, you should have. We'll talk about it someday, but not today." After everyone left, I sat alone in the dining room, looking at Grandpa's empty chair. Mr. Harrison placed a hand on my shoulder. "Your grandfather would be proud," he said. "You played your part perfectly." I nodded, thinking of all the nights I'd spent building this trap, weathering the public humiliation, watching my family reveal their true selves. "It wasn't easy," I admitted. "The best lessons never are," he replied. The next morning, the business papers ran a new headline: Pierce Technologies CEO orchestrates brilliant sting operation, saves company from industrial espionage. My phone buzzed with messages again, this time from business leaders congratulating me on my strategic genius. Rachel, James, and Sarah were arrested that week. Mom sent flowers to my office with an apology card, but I wasn't ready to forgive yet. Some wounds take time to heal. As for me, I hung Grandpa's picture in my office and got back to work. The company grew stronger than ever, now that the rot had been cut out. Sometimes I catch myself looking at that picture, remembering his words, "Watch the quiet ones." He was right. Sometimes the quiet ones are plotting your downfall, but sometimes, like Grandpa and me, they're orchestrating justice. These days, when people ask me about that Christmas dinner, I just smile and tell them the truth. Sometimes losing everything is the best way to find out who you really are, and who others really are too. As for family, well, I learned that real family isn't about blood, it's about loyalty, trust, and integrity. Grandpa taught me that too, right up until his final masterpiece of a lesson.